Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Season 2 of the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kayla Smith, CEO of the Hormone P.U.Z.L.E Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and the business of coaching, creator of the Hormone P.U.Z.L.E method, an infertility warrior, two-time boy mom, and women's health expert. This podcast is for women struggling with infertility, painful periods, terrible PMS, or really just any symptom of hormone imbalance that they are ready to eliminate for good. Tune in weekly as we interview amazing experts in the fields of women's health, breaking down those hormone walls, nerding out on nutrition, and having way too much fun. Whether you're beginning your journey or you've been struggling for years, we're going to finally help you put those pieces of your hormone puzzle back together so that you can get pregnant and eliminate those pesky symptoms for good. Are you ready? This season is packed with even more expert guests sharing groundbreaking knowledge, giving you that jolt of energy that you so desperately need, sending you lots of virtual hugs, and inspiring you to take your fertility into your own hands and make that baby. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now let's get started on your road to transformation. Dr. Mariza Snyder is today's guest. She is a functional medicine practitioner and women's health expert, as well as an author of 7 books. The #1 national best-selling book, The Essential Oils Hormone Solution, which focuses on balancing women's hormones, as well as other best-selling books such as The Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils and The Dash Diet Cookbook. Dr. Mariza's upcoming book, The Essential Oils Menopause Solution, focuses on solutions for women in perimenopause and menopause. For the past 10 years, she has lectured at wellness centers, conferences, and corporations all over the world on hormone health, essential oils, nutrition, and detoxification. She has been featured on Dr. Oz, in Oprah Magazine, on Fox News Health, Mind Body Green, as well as many other publications. Dr. Mariza is also the host of the top-rated Essentially You podcast, designed to empower women to become the CEO of their health. Check out her website, drmariza.com, for women's hormone tips, including recipes and remedies. And make sure you listen for today's sponsor. And now let's welcome Dr. Mariza to the show. Hey, Dr. Mariza, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and kind of your inspiration for working in women's health.
Well, right now, currently, I am a new mom, which is a whole new adventure. Juggling my businesses and juggling my probably the cutest baby in the world. At the same time, it's been its own, new thing. I am a woman who is in postpartum and in perimenopause at the same time. And I am so grateful for what I know so that I can navigate this particular terrain with as much ease and grace as possible. But it wasn't always so easy. And definitely there was a lot of no grace for many, many years for me. So, I would say like so many women, I started having period problems in my teens, early 20s. And I just chuck it up as like girls have period issues. Went to my doctor, sure enough, got on birth control and not like normal birth control. I got on the Depo-Provera shot and that was horrible. It rocked my world. My birth control symptoms were so intense, weight gain, severe mood swings. I mean, just everything, heavy bleeding, just awful. And I remember coming off of Depo-Provera when I was in my, a year later, I made it a year. And I don't know a stat that your audience may be interested in, but 50% of women who go on birth control come off of it within a year because the side effects are so just horrendous.
Yeah.
I was one of those women. So no doubt I totally relate to that. But I really didn't question it or think about it. You know, you got a period problem, you take a pill for it. I was really caught up in the allopathic system. My whole life before that, I had had severe migraines since I was 7, and I took a ton of migraine medication for that. So that was just a thing I knew to do. In my 20s, I blew through it. I was addicted to stress. My periods didn't get any better. Coming off the depot, it took me a year to get my period back. But then once it came back with a vengeance. Pair that with the lifestyle I was living, which wasn't good, probably why my periods were so off. Because your periods are not the problem. They're a messenger. They're just trying to tell you something isn't right. And then at 30 years old, as I was blowing through life and just kind of not paying attention to myself, just focusing on other people, I was in practice and I was taking care of a lot of women who were dealing with a slew of different symptoms. And I wasn't kind of putting the pieces together right then and there, but I knew that their doctors weren't either. And it was all related to hormonal imbalance. And that was a time where I literally like nose into a Mack truck, had severe chronic fatigue, the kind of chronic fatigue where I could barely get out of bed every single morning. I crawled to my office and I was trying to sneak in naps. I was pounding coffee every day. I was putting on weight. I mean, I had every symptom you could imagine when it comes to like hormonal imbalance and chronic fatigue. And I was just 30 and I was like, oh my goodness, like this cannot be how I operate from here on out. And again, knowing that I needed to take more of a natural approach. I had a friend of mine refer me to what was a hormone specialist, still a medical doctor. And her recommendations for me was birth control again. And Xanax, because I was crazy.
Oh, gosh.
And so I was like, okay, there was that defining moment. That was the moment where I was like, I've got to forge a different path here. I remember feeling so defeated and discouraged and not heard. And I also realized that she really just didn't have anything for me. And probably anyone else who came in the door. So I remember sitting in my car that day and I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. I'm a researcher. I know I got to figure this out and I really don't have a choice. I've got to get my energy back. I've got to get my body back on track. And then I also wanted to be a part of the solution. I didn't want to be another practitioner who had nothing for her patients and sent her off to someone who was just going to recommend medications for, not really addressing the issue. And that was almost 12 years ago. And I've spent the last 12 years just every day researching, doing my work, helping women. It's been my mission ever since. And I have definitely have had my own journeys in that process. I got Hashimoto's thyroiditis, had a lot to do with the chronic fatigue issue. And I know that we're always on this journey as women, especially as we navigate into our 40s, 50s, and beyond. Those transitions cannot always be so fun. And it's my intention to create as much ease and grace during those transitions, especially for women as possible.
I love that. And that story sounds so similar to mine with my fertility journey. I went the medical route and they wanted to push these procedures on me. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's nothing medically wrong with me. I had unexplained. So it's like, why are you pushing a medical procedure on me? So I'm so
Or why are you even pushing a term like infertility on you? Exactly. It just drives me crazy. And yeah, I mean, gosh, the fertility journey in its own right. Absolutely. I hear you. We had a miscarriage before we got Kingston and yeah, I was 40 trying to get pregnant and I had an autoimmune condition and we had a lot of things, and we lost our first baby and then we got pregnant with our son. And so I know that it's a journey in its own right. And you think about every journey for women, especially in our bodies, there's so much to navigate.
Mm-hmm. And so how old were you when you just had your baby, right?
Yeah. 3 months ago. He's 3 months old.
Okay, cool.
So I got pregnant at 40, gave birth to him at 41.
Love that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I had my second at 40. And so I always tell people, there is hope. If you're hit 35 and you're told like you can't have a baby, you're too old, that is just not true. You can have a baby in your 40s. So I love.
Oh, absolutely. You absolutely can. Our bodies are so well designed, and we can absolutely, one of my dearest friends, she's a incredible super baby fertility mama, Dr. Cleopatra, she was a part of that journey for me. And she talks about that we can reverse our biological clock, and we can not only just do that, and not only for overall longevity, even if you're not trying to get pregnant. I mean, who doesn't want to reverse their biological clock anyhow, just because that creates so much fertility and youth, and our bodies are working so beautifully, but also, so much of infertility as the modern medical system diagnoses just isn't true. Right. And so, I really hope that we can shift that conversation and open the door for so much great possibility for women, even as they're navigating 35 and beyond. I did a lot of podcast interviews or solos during my process because I wanted to just share what I did. And, when we decided we were going to start trying, I was 38. And that's when we was literally that summer, we were heading to Italy, and I got my autoimmune diagnosis, and I told my husband, I said, just I got to figure this out. I know that most likely we got to put the baby making on hold, because I just wanted my body to be ready for that. And so I took a full year to get myself into remission. But so I've been working on trying to get pregnant for almost 2 years, including that whole healing journey.
Wow. I love it. And I'm so glad we're talking about this. Yeah. I'm a big fan of advocating for yourself, and, and the doctors tell you can't do it, then you need to be asking questions and say, no, my body's capable. I can.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. And here's the thing about our medical doctors and inside the modern medicine is that they know what they know. Mm-hmm. We all just know what we know. And if you're following your protocols that may have been the protocols from 15 years ago, because it takes so long to get cutting edge research into bedside, especially functional medicine and root cause medicine. It's just not there yet. And so, if you're getting that runaround excuse, doctors like, yeah, no, you're in perimenopause. Here's the pill. Mm-hmm. That's just what they were told to do. Oh, menopause, here's hormone replacement. That's just what they're told to do. They're literally following the script of what they've been told. And so if you're wanting more than that, then we're just at an age where there's so much great information. There's so much that we know now that's out there, that really is out, that's out there. I know, cause it's out there. You're doing it. Yeah. I got books on it. There's so many great doctors that are really doing it. There's just a little bit of research and just owning it, saying, you know what, this is my body. This is my health. I'm running the show. I'm the CEO. Yes. Then I get to define what it looks like for me, and I get to curate the team. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. And so I just curate the team, you know, and so, cause I think that there's so much that's possible. So yes, if women like ourselves getting pregnant our second time at 39 and 40, despite what doctors said, despite diagnoses that would potentially lead to quote unquote infertility, we get to rewrite what it looks like for ourselves.
For sure. And so let's talk a little bit about hormones. Hormones, you work a lot with hormones. So do I. We talk a lot about it on the show. Mm-hmm. So what are some kind of hormone imbalances that we should be looking out for?
Absolutely. And what age group?
Mm-hmm. What age group?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing is that, depending on the age, like let's say our 20s, right? We're going to see a lot of it within our menstrual cycle. And again, at the end of the day, when we're, hormonal imbalances, they're important to identify and they're important to look at. But I always want to be like, okay, well, why did my hormones do this? Because one thing I know that's true about our hormones is that they are powerful, potent, instantaneous chemical messengers, right? They are sending messages off. You think about the thyroid. I mean, we think about the thyroid as being the gas pedal for our metabolism, but it is so much more than that. It is driving cellular activity. It is driving the synthesis of specific proteins. It is driving, you think about all the work that T3 is doing in the body. It's not just about the belly fat, or it's not just about whether our digestive system is working properly. There's so many things going on behind the scenes. And that particular hormone, thyroid hormone, is literally shifting gears based on what is going on with us at the time. So depending on if I'm running to this interview or I'm doing something else, that metabolic hormone is having to like make changes. And so I always think of our hormones as, you know, kind of real-time messengers based on the circumstances that they have been dealt. And the circumstances that they have been dealt are created by our external environment and what's going on with us, what's going on with me right now. And so I wanted to just speak into that, you know, that although there are important key hormonal imbalances we should be looking at as indicators, then we have to be asking ourselves, okay, well, if cortisol is off and it is driving an imbalance in insulin, why is that? What is going on behind the scenes? Is it some trauma way back in the day that's triggering perceived stress? Is it a lack of worthiness that says I've got to keep pushing harder every single day? Is that the reason why cortisol is off? Is that the reason why then insulin is off and I'm shoving chocolate down my face at 3:00 in the afternoon? Like, you know, the why behind that. But if I were to look at common hormonal imbalances, I would say one, definitely cortisol, right? And cortisol, that's survival. The stress response system is constantly being fired off, especially for us as women, especially if you are somebody who has a to-do list and you are trying to handle that to-do list. And then you go to bed and that to-do list isn't done. And you then add to it the next day. An example of that would be this right here.
Right. I have the same thing.
Right. And so, and what we know to be true is that let's say we are in a state of perceived chronic stress, that we're constantly getting it's triggered, whether it's an Instagram post that we see that is not a fan, or our mama sends us a text about our sibling or our grandparent, or, because I got 2 texts about both of those people this week from my mama, right? And it always seems like an emergency. And you get that text message and no matter what you're doing, it completely throws you off your game. Or it's, you know, it's an endless to-do list, or you've got a baby who's crying and you're trying to do a podcast, you know? And so that ultimately, when we have cortisol in the stress response system firing off, let's say every half hour, every hour, depending on what is going on, that there's a cascade effect. We know that progesterone is impacted by that. We know that mitochondrial function is impacted by that. So our energy production is negatively impacted. We also know that blood sugar levels, because the number one job of cortisol is to regulate insulin. And so now you've got a situation where you're accumulating belly fat, or you've got crazy cravings, or your brain doesn't work anymore because you got brain fog because of unstable blood sugar levels. And so I would say that's one of the biggest hormonal imbalances that I see, that I find has a profound impact on other hormone systems in the body.
And that makes so much sense. And I think a lot of us don't correlate that. Like we don't, well, I should, not a lot of us, the average woman probably didn't think that I'm like running around trying to get to a job interview, or my baby's crying with like, I'm going to gain weight, or, you know, my blood sugar is going to be affected. Like a lot of people don't put that together. And so that is so important that we're talking about this, because it's, you know, not a lot of people, I don't feel like know that.
Mm-mm. And it's an intangible. It's not something that you and I could just take off the shelf. You know, it's right. One thing for me to know that chemicals affect my hormones. Okay. Chemicals do. We know that, right? There's endocrine disruptors. There's obesogens, for goodness sakes. And I can take the toxic, nasty chemicals out of my cleaning supplies, throw them in the trash, and replace them with non-toxic options, and reduce my toxic load and reduce endocrine disruption. But when it comes to stress, it's not like we can measure it a little bit on like a Dutch test or on a salivary test, but we really can't measure it on the day to day, unless we're wearing like a heart coherence monitor 24/7, where you can see where you're at all the time. But who is doing that, right? So it's really difficult to measure. And yeah, it takes many, many, many years to kind of get to a place where it starts to show up, right? How long can you run at full throttle before you really start to experience the consequences of those? I would say for most women, a decade or two. I would say 20s and 30s. we could probably get away with that. And then around late 30s, all of a sudden we start to notice some shifts, like we're just not as resilient as we were. And we start to look back at what was it that may have created that. A lot of it, I think, has to do with the way that we're operating, the way that we're living our life, in terms of with all the obligations, with all of the to-do lists, with women just doing bigger and better things every single day and still having to manage the roles that we were brought up with.
100%. And so how do we try to shift that? What are some practical tips that we can do to kind of manage some of this stress or even eliminate it?
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the simplest things that we can do, because I know that changing lifestyle, here's the thing is lifestyle's got to change. Right? It's got to shift. You can't keep running like a freight train, forever. That just isn't going to work. So there's some minor things that you can do. But if you're saying to yourself, nothing can give. My whole life, it cannot give. The first thing that I would do is I would look into diet and I would look into supplementing. So, cause can you green smoothie your way out of chronic stress? No.
No.
Can you supplement enough magnesium to get yourself out of chronic stress? No, but it can help. They both can help. And so it's focusing a diet where we're getting more protein, we're getting healthy fats, we're getting a lot of fiber in terms of green leafy vegetables, the color of the rainbow in every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is going to be huge. Reducing our sugar, reducing our inflammatory foods like wheat, gluten, dairy, maybe even corn, sugar. Wine, those types of things are going to help with our energy production and us feeling a little bit better. And then making sure that we get what I call the critical 5 supplements with that we're good on our B vitamins. We're good on our magnesium. We're good on D3 with vitamin K. We are good with iron, and we're good with zinc. Those are kind of the heavy hitters, I think, for women, especially with our menstrual cycle, our reproductive hormones, our thyroid, our liver, our gut, and definitely our cellular energy. And if you can bonus in some more vitamin C, yes, for the brain and the reproductive system and the liver as well. Those will help. And the beautiful thing is a lot of that isn't super, super difficult to do. Mm-hmm. Now, again, as I mentioned, you can't at the end of the day, green smoothie or kale salad your way out of chronic stress. So then something's got to give there too. And honestly, it's not so much that something's got to give. I think it's an add in, and that's going to be any level of self-care, any level. And I think where that starts, and I feel a little bit hypocritical right now because right at the moment, my morning routine has been obliterated. And so I'm going to get it back. I know it. But speaking from a mama with a 3-month-old, it's just really hard to have a morning routine right now. And so I get in where I fit in. But I would say if you are a mama, maybe not with like a 3-month-old, where you can have a little bit of structure in that morning, where you can have a little bit of time to yourself, even 15 minutes, grabbing an essential oil to wake you up in the morning, having a journal to write in every morning, even 5 minutes, gratitude journaling. The one thing I do every night when I go to bed, I gratitude journal during the day. It used to be in the morning. And at night I have a crystal by my bedside where I grab it before going to bed and I kind of list off all the things that I'm grateful for from the day. Now, these last several weeks, my husband finds me with the crystal next to me because I pretty much fall asleep as I'm doing this gratitude practice every single night, which is a great way to fall asleep, honestly. But there's always a crystal right next to my rib cage.
I love it. Maybe you're getting the energy overnight from the
crystal. Yeah, hopefully.
All night.
But it's a rose quartz crystal that I use because I just love the love and abundance. It's really beautiful. But it's just the way that I go to sleep every night is I have this little crystal in my bed. And then the other thing that I do is 4 to 5 times a day, there's a chime on my phone that goes off, and it's a really quiet, beautiful chime. And it just reminds me to take 8 deep belly breaths. Just breathe in. So I grab an oil. I grab like a jasmine or a lavender, something beautiful that I love. And I put it on my palms and I just breathe it in and take 6 to 10 deep belly breaths and just reset the stress response system. And what this does is it literally sends safety signals to the brain that everything is okay. Everything is okay. The wheels aren't falling off over here. And I do this 4 to 5 times a day. and it takes less than 60 seconds, literally. And it literally resets me. So I'm not in that constant state of stress mode. So those are just some strategies and techniques that I think are easy to implement that we can bring in throughout the day. If you can get outside in nature, double win. That's another big one. I try to get us out in nature every single day, even if I can just pack up the baby and the baby Bjorn and just walk down my hill a couple times, then I am winning at life. So those are just some simple, easy ways to kind of manage what I consider to be one of the biggest hormonal imbalances that I would say a good 80% of us are dealing with on a daily basis.
I love that. All of those are such wonderful, valuable tips. And I think a lot of people don't know this too, but you can trick your central nervous system into thinking you're calm by doing that breathing. And even if you're like frazzled crazy, stop and breathe. And your body's like, oh, well, I'm breathing normally. I must be good.
Yeah. I mean, your brain, your body, the number one core of operations, or the purpose of how our bodies function, is survival. Like, that's the core of it. Survival first. And if you can tell the body that it doesn't need to be in survival mode by breath, it's so profound. And again, those safety signals, I find that once we get into a state of that chronic perceived stress, it's so easy to get triggered up. And, we've all felt that. Like, sometimes we don't even know it. So often it's unconscious. Like, all of a sudden we're in that state. And really the only way that is kind of looking at somebody in your household and see how they're responding to you, and you're like, oh goodness, like they must be responding to me because I'm in my zone of, right. And so there's a couple of different cues to kind of look at. One, are things tense? Is everyone in the household responding to you in a way that, you're like the tiger in the house right now? Right. Are you saying things like, I don't have time, I've got to go, I'm super busy? Like, are there tag phrases that you're known for that really kind of pick up during the day? Those are the cues that you've got to take that reset. And if you're not able, you're like, I don't even have time to pay attention to the cues that tell me I need a reset, then do what I do and put the chimes on the phone. Because that's going to be the reminder. So often we just don't even know. And I think having the little chimes is always a great little way to kind of the notification to take a moment.
Yes, I love that. I'm going to start to implement that as well. That's a great suggestion. Awesome. Well, we're going to take a short break to hear a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk about your newest book, The Essential Oil Menopause Solution, as well as dive into a little bit more about essential oils and how they can help us with our hormones. So we will be right back.
Hey y'all, it's Coach Kayla here. I hope you are loving this episode as much as I am. We will be back in just a minute, but first, a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and the business of coaching. Whether you're struggling to get pregnant with pesky hormone symptoms, or you're working to build a career in the fertility and women's health space, we have you covered. Visit our website at www.coachkayla.com to learn more on how we can help you. Text the keyword fertility to 615-257-8855 for your free fertility meal plan. Welcome back, Dr. Mariza. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little more about your newest book.
Oh my goodness. It is my greatest labor of love to date. This is book number 8 for me, and I poured my heart and soul into this book. It's specifically geared towards women in perimenopause and menopause. And I think it's really important to say that. I mean, I couldn't say both in the title. They wouldn't let me. But so often at the end, I call it phase 2 of perimenopause, is what we think menopause looks like or feels like. And so I really wanted women to feel very supported in that transitional journey, that 10 that 4 to 10 plus year journey heading into menopause, what that looks like. And then once we're in menopause, how do we navigate this beautiful new terrain, this new body, with as much grace as possible, with as much energy and vibrance, and just living our best life. Like I think about women in our 40s and our 50s. So those are the women who are doing, not that there aren't women doing big things in their 20s and their 30s, but I feel like we've kind of established ourselves. This is where we're really rocking it. But it's also where maybe we have older parents. We've got kids that are getting older. We're just, as women, we're navigating a lot behind the scenes on top of our bodies changing. And so, helping women to really identify and create real powerful root cause solutions for their bodies is one of my biggest missions.
Mine too. I love that. And I hate when somebody says to me, oh, I'm 45 or I'm 50. This is just part of it. I just have to struggle with weight gain or hot flashes or, night sweats, whatever it is. And that's just not true from you and I know. So talk to me a little more in detail about the book. Or is there some practical tips that you recommend where we can kind of thrive in menopause?
Absolutely. So I use a couple different things. I know we're going to talk about essential oils. The thing about oils is that they're instant wins. That's what I love about them. Like you want to go from mood swings to a happy place, stress to zen, essential oils. You want a little spray to knock that hot flash out, essential oils. You need a little blend for sleep. You can use essential. I love it. An instant energy booster, oils, right? And here's the thing is that oils, they're not going to get you from point A to point B in terms of like the big health journey. But I do believe that we deserve wins along the way. And you and I both know that the journey into healthy hormones, a body that works properly, is going to take a little bit of time. But in the interim, we do deserve a little extra some. So that's why I love the oil. So I have oil recommendations in the book that proven, lots of great research to back those up. I have supplement recommendations because I really wanted women to have a lot of natural solutions to manage menopausal symptoms before they moved into maybe bioidentical hormones. And not to say that there isn't a time and place for those, but if that's not something you're looking for, I want you to know there's other options. So well-researched supplements that are going to move the needle, whether it is hot flashes with energy, or it's a sleep issue, or it's a sluggish metabolism. I want you to know that I'm addressing that. And then at the end of the book is a 21-day program, which literally is designed to set women up for success. And we've had, I think 3,000 women go through the 21-day program with incredible results. And so I'm so excited, including me. I literally live on that program for the most part at this point in my life. And so I'm really excited. It's designed to be easy. It's designed to really move the needle. And I think that any of us can do something for 3 weeks if it means that on the other side of it, we're going to feel like a different person.
For sure. And I'm sure it helps with, postpartum, your phase in life right now, kind of weaving into that. So yeah, I love it. Cause a lot of people listening, have had babies.
Yeah. And are having babies later, like you and I, and so, it's so fascinating it's such a fun time to be like, a friend of mine was like, you need to write a book on postpartum and perimenopause because there's so many women now. That's a very small niche.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting experience.
Yep.
Because we want the bounce back as much as possible. We want our bodies back post baby, right? We want to feel like ourselves post baby. But it can be hard to navigate if your hormones are already shifting on you and you have massive post pregnancy depletion, and so depending on what happens, I've read and I've connected with women who they don't feel like they ever recover from postpartum once they're in perimenopause. And that's because so much is shifting at that time. But there is so much that we can do to navigate that with a lot of grace as well.
I love it. So talk to me about your favorite essential oils. What's your top 5 for maybe hormonal health or even just like, health in general?
Absolutely. So I would say, so one of my absolute favorites is going to be tangerine or wild orange. Citruses I think that they're just like effervescent happiness and joy in a bottle. So every single morning I get up, I grab my usually tangerine. It just smells like pure abundance. And wild orange is known as the oil of abundance. So citruses are abundant oils, and just breathing that in, it's so hard to go into a mode of like, oh my God, there's so much to do, or oh my goodness, I got a lot going on. When you breathe an oil like that in, it just puts you in that sets the tone for a day of abundance and gratitude. So I love it. So you're looking for a little energy booster or a little happiness booster. I love those oils. Next, I love peppermint. Peppermint is great for hot flashes. Peppermint's great for headaches. Peppermint's great for cravings. So if you know you hit a craving, let's say 11 a.m. or maybe it's 4 p.m. or maybe it's 11 p.m., peppermint oil is going to be your go-to. Just breathing that oil in is going to be such a game change. For specific, let's say hot flashes or menstrual cycle pain, let's say you're having menstrual cramps, my go-to oil there is going to be clary sage. I love that oil. I also love it for labor as well. So it's phenomenal for labor, but it reduces prostaglandins and it's a powerful analgesic. So just rubbing it over the abdominal area with a little bit of coconut oil will work wonders. Another favorite of mine, if I had to choose, probably the one I love the most, it's kind of an aphrodisiac oil and it just smells delectable. Oh my gosh. It's jasmine. Jasmine is one of my favorite. It's the oil of confidence. And, so I love wearing jasmine personally. And it's a great libido booster oil as well.
Yay. We all need that.
Yes.
I love it. And is there a brand that you like?
I personally use doTERRA. But there's a lot of other brands out there that are great. But those have been my favorites for a long time. I've seen such great results, a lot of good research on them. So yeah, but those are mine, but there are definitely other ones out there that are really great as well.
I love that. And I love doTERRA too. Those are my go-to oils. So I love it. So tell us a little more about, maybe some self-care that you practice and, some suggestions for our audience.
Absolutely. And, and I can go into more specifics as well, specifically about particular symptoms, but I just think about overall, it's so much. I always say 80% of what we do on the daily is going to dictate how we feel, how our bodies are functioning down the line. And I 100% still believe that. I live that. So I would love to share some of my self-care. So one of the things that I love to do, as I mentioned earlier, so I have up until the baby was born, I used to tell I have a Bentley self-care morning ritual. And then I have kind of like my, get it done self-care ritual. The Bentley is gone. It's on the shelf right now. I'm excited for it to come back. And right now my morning routine is kind of mixed in throughout my day, but basically what it looks like is I love to start my day with a detox water. We can call it like a belly slimming water, or I personally like to say it's a gut and liver support water. But it's basically lemon juice, mint, cucumbers, and sometimes I'll add a little bit of grapefruit in there, depending on what I've got in the house. And I usually drink about 16 to 20 ounces of that every morning before I start my day. Then I vacillate between matcha and coffee. Right now, coffee is the drink of choice, because I'm still doing nighttime feedings. And I do my coffee with a little bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon I love because it stabilizes insulin levels. It tastes good, so I don't put any sweetener. I haven't put sweetener in my coffee in many, many years, or my matcha. So I do that. And I have a Yeti, which makes sure that my coffee stays hot.
Right.
That's super important. If you don't have a Yeti, get one. I'm not a sponsor for Yeti, but oh my God, it's a godsend in my life. Or my coffee would be cold all the time, or my matcha would be. And then I've got an incredible, I actually have it on my website too. I think it's up. I have a daily self-care journal that I've created that I've been so excited to get out into the world. And I fill it out every single day, and it allows me, you set the intention. You talk about the foods that you're going to eat. They're going to nourish your body, the self-care that you're going to do, it's going to nourish you inside and out, whatever that is. And then, you get to paint the picture in this journal of what do you want more of from your day? Like, what would you love for your day to look like? And then at the end of this little journal, it takes 5 minutes to fill it out. It's designed that way. You have a little declaration where you are making a commitment to yourself that you're gonna do those things. You're gonna live in that way of being. And that just sets the tone for my day. Other self-care I love is, again, being out in nature. If you can get out there, doing the breathing techniques that I talked about earlier, get in where you fit in on that. And I use oils all throughout the day to kind of punctuate my day to really help. And then, I do my best to have a sleep routine as best as I can. It used to be more of a routine. Now it's just me and my crystal and passing out. And I have a diffuser of oils. Usually it's like lavender, cedarwood, rose, frankincense, something that's really beautiful, but also just kind of calms, like just takes things down a notch. So those are some of my favorite, super simple and what I consider to be very easy to implement self-care that has made a massive difference in my life. And for me, I think self-care is absolutely necessary for our survival, for our ability to function with grace. I know that I could not do what I do today without those self-care practices.
I agree. I love that. And I'm going to have to look for that self-care journal. Sounds very interesting. I love it.
I'm so excited about this little journal. It's been, you've had a vision for something for many years, and then finally it comes to fruition. And it's so fun that it's out in the world, and I see women filling it out. And, my intention that was just really to help women set the tone for what they wanted. Because so often our day is dictated by something else, other people's demands. You get into your email, you get into Instagram, all of a sudden you're responding to DMs, or you're responding to comments, you're doing other people's bidding. You get into email is just other people needing something from you. Yeah. And that's after your family has given you their laundry list of things to do that day. And so, if you can instead, before you get into the email, before you get into the social media, you set the tone for what you want your day to look like, how you want to operate in that day. I love a journal that can do that for you, that can get you with such great clarity. And so that's the reason why I created it. And also that is fast. Because there's journals out there that take a long time to fill out, and sometimes we don't have time for that. So
I love that. And just putting yourself first. I mean, it's so very important. So I love it. Yes. And talk to us about a little freebie that you have on your website. I think it's your little smoothie cookbook.
Yes. Oh, yay. I was like, which one? Also, real quick, the journal, the journal itself is inside of the book too. So it's built into the 21-day program. So people can just literally just take that and write it out themselves. So there's a lot of different ways you can get your hands on that journal. But I built it into the book for that reason as well. But the smoothie guide. So I know I said you can't green smoothie your way out of chronic stress, but you can definitely green smoothie your way into a happier liver, happier brain function, and a much more happier and content gut. And those are 3 areas I think we really want support in. So I have what is my go-to green smoothie, my green smoothie, favorite smoothies that you can make. It's got a ton of great protein in it, healthy fats, low glycemic, yummy fruit like berries, and then lots of green leafy vegetables as well. And they taste incredible. So I only chose my best of best. I've been making green smoothies for 12 years now. And it's just my favorite habit. Either it's great for lunch or it's great for breakfast, getting where you fit in. But I promise that they're delicious. So,
Yes, I'm a huge fan of starting your morning with a smoothie. I think you can get so much nutrition. They're delicious and they're so fast and easy. So I love that you have that. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yes. Yeah. There's some yummy ones in there. And it's just, so many of us are making them, but sometimes we just need a new little recipe to check out. And, 2 things that matter to me is 1, they taste really, really good. And 2, they're really, really easy to make. So those are the 2 things that I promise I deliver in these recipes.
I love it. Well, tell us where we can find your book. Where can we find you? A little more about that.
Absolutely. So the book is on, well, it's everywhere, but where people probably may be going to grab it. It's on Amazon. There's an audio version. There's a Kindle version. There's a hard copy version. I love the hard copy because there are recipes in there, or Kindle. It's kind of hard to do. I think the audio book will actually have a little guide with the recipes too. So actually you'll have written recipes for any of them. And then I do have a book bonus page as well, which is drmariza.com/menopause book. And we have a menopause toolkit. It's $500 worth in bonuses as well. I don't know if you're going to be able to share that, but that it has a shopping list for the 21 day. It has a masterclass. It's got all kinds of cheat sheets. So it's designed to be a companion for the book. And it's got 3 bonus chapters that didn't make it into the book because the book was too long and we had to cut it. So, so just a heads up there.
I love it. Yes. And we'll have all that in the show notes. And then where are you at on social?
My favorite place to play is Instagram. And it's just at Dr. Mariza. And I am on Facebook as well, but I would say where you're going to find me and where we're going to connect is going to be Instagram.
Yes. I have my favorite too. I love Instagram. It's so fun. So tell us any final thoughts before we close out here that you want our audience to know, maybe some words of advice or encouragement.
I would say that listen to your gut. If you're hearing that, walking into your 40s and 50s is it's kind of just over. You're kind of just gotta, you're throwing in the towel. I just want you to listen to your gut intuition and know that it gets to look any way you want it to look. Like my mama, she is 60. She's got hair extensions. She's got, you know what I'm saying? She is living her best life. Let me tell you, she's running marathons and looking really good doing it. And, I remember when she was 49 and she was kind of feeling that way. And she decided she was going to reinvent it. She was going to own it and make it the way she wanted to make it. She was going to rock her little shorts. She was going to, she was going to do it the way she wanted to do it. And it was definitely not my grandma's menopause. That's for sure. And so I just want you to just know that you get to redefine this phase in your life. I think that we get to reclaim so much power in this time, as we saunter into this next new realm. So I always want to just share that message that we can tune the hormones up. We can get the metabolism back on track. I know we didn't talk a lot about the metabolism piece today, but I promise you can. You can get your brain rocking and rolling and you can feel phenomenal at 40, 50 and beyond. And it's just a matter of just that mindset, owning it, and then executing with a couple of just, effective habits that we know will work for you.
I love it. Oh my goodness. I love it. And same with my mama. Like I never saw her go through menopause. She just breezed right through. She's in her 70s, living her best life. So it can happen for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mariza. It's been such an honor to have you on the show and I really appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And everybody listening, definitely go get Dr. Mariza's book, check out her website, all her freebies, such valuable information. And it's just, you got to check it out. So go to her website and do that. So thank you guys for listening. Until next time, this is the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. Bye.
Hey, hang on just 1 second before you go. I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the amazing free resources that I have for you on my website at CoachKayla.com. From a fertility meal plan, a cycle syncing quick start guide, a holistic healing cookbook, as well as master classes, blog posts by me and some amazing experts in the fields of fertility, hormones, and nutrition. So many wonderful resources that will help you on your journey. And I wish there had been something like this when I was going through my 2 years of infertility, but there just wasn't. And so that's why I decided to create all of this for you. So make sure that you go and check it out and you take advantage of this plethora of support that I have provided for you. And spoiler alert, these were some of the same tricks and the same foods that I used to get myself pregnant. Not once, but twice, even after my doctors said that I couldn't. So I know that these things work. Make sure you take advantage of that. And I cannot wait for you to be my next success story. So thanks, love. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. Check out the show notes for today's episode at CoachKayla.com. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.